our last session today, we have custom theme building for Adobe ColdFusion charts by Mark Takata, the evangelist of ColdFusion. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Apurva. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning or afternoon, or I guess even evening, depending where you are in the world. As mentioned, my name is Mark Takata, and I have the pleasure of presenting today. I'm having to follow Raymond Camden, of all people. My goodness. Well, I'm going to do my best to try and come up to that particular position. So today, we are going to be working and talking about ColdFusion charts theming specifically in there. This is not a talk about the actual charting. That there's other talks about that if you want to do that. Charting, for the most part, has been the same for very, very, very long time. But 2025, we did update it, and I'll be talking about some of those updates, specifically theming. So before that, all right, who am I? My name is, as mentioned, Mark Takata, and I am the Senior Adobe ColdFusion Evangelist. Just one of me. I know it seems like there's multiple. I move around really quickly all the time, but there's just one of me. And yeah, so, oh, sorry. This is about what we're going to talk about. So yeah, good times. I didn't sleep well last night. This is what we're going to be talking about. So chart themes. Wait, we have chart themes, so we'll get into that a little bit. And we're going to talk about 3 different ways of customizing them. Okay, we're going to talk about manual editing, semi-automated, smart, and then we're going to actually drop into the code after I talk a little bit about these things, just because it gets a little bit hairy trying to like swap back and forth between things. So, all right. Who am I? As mentioned, you know my name. I've been doing this for over 30 years. Been programming for a very long time. I've been the evangelist here for 5 years, if you can believe that. This year is going to be my 5th year. So apparently I get some kind of like, I don't know, 4-week vacation or something. I don't get to go on vacation. I work 24/7. So we'll see how that works. And as many of you know, I'm a polymath. I know 14 different programming languages, looking to learn my 15th. Good times. And currently live in West Sacramento, but we'll see where that goes. All right. So chart themes. Very specifically, the stuff that I'm going to be talking about today requires you to have ColdFusion 2025. If you try the stuff that I'm going to show you today in anything before that, well, it's not going to work. Sorry. And the reason for that is we did a major engine update, which included a bunch more new chart types, new functionality, all of that. I believe there may be a talk somewhere on the YouTube channel about charting. If not, I could always do one later this year. So let me know if you can't find one for the more generalized, like what was added, what's cool, what's new, and how do you do that. But theming in particular is something that has been asked for a long time. Now, why is that? Well, like if you work for a company, which most of us do, right? You are often required or asked to provide certain like standards, right? So marketing standards, color standards, fonts, things like that. Even for internal stuff, that's just a thing. Yeah, branding. They ask you to do branding stuff, and it makes sense, right? That way things are consistent, they look good, they match what the company's trying to portray out there. There's no confusion. So in the past, the way we did that was, well, just kind of manually, right? Like we would set it here, we'd set it there, we'd set it like within the stuff, and then we'd go to the next chart and we'd have to do it again that way. And frankly, that sucks. Right? It's just difficult and no fun. So what we've added is the ability to specify a theme for a particular set of charts, and that includes things like, you know, line thicknesses, colors, fonts, all of that. And we also, because we kind of figured like, well, it's going to be kind of hard to customize these, we decided to add a bunch of default themes. In fact, there are 16 of them that come with ColdFusion. We actually we had a company that professionally designed these 16 themes. They're actually really pretty. I'll show you some of them later. They're amazing. And for most of the stuff that you do, just kind of, if you're just throwing one-off stuff, if you're just doing a chart for your team and no one else is going to, like, they work great. They work fine. And there's usually something that's pretty close to what you're doing. But inevitably, if your CTO or CEO or whatever wants a really cool charting theme and you're using the real-time charting, WebSockets, cool stuff that you saw Dave do earlier, and you want to drop that in for them, well, they're probably going to want to see the company color. They're probably going to want to see a font that at least kind of sort of looks like what the fonts are that they see every day, right? And so now we're back to having to do it the hard way, except we're not, because there is a way to specify custom themes using JSON. But of course, it's not. It's not easy, or I wouldn't be here talking to you right now, right? That file, if you printify it, is over 700 lines long. It's like 734 lines or something ridiculous like that. So to go through there would be painful, let's just say. So today, I'm going to tell you about 3 different ways to go through and edit it. And then I'm going to actually show you somewhat manually a little bit how those things can work and function. And part of it is going to actually include some code that I wrote. Believe it or not, I'm not just here to be decorative, although mostly that's what I'm here for, but I also write code. All right, AI writes code for me. But anyway, yeah, I do write code. So I wrote an app that allows you to do either like semi-automatic stuff where it brings up a bunch of form fields and stuff. I'll talk about that a little bit. And then also an automated one. So, okay, starting off, manual editing. And this is the first thing that I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. It really is just for masochists, honestly. Like the second thing that I will show you here in a minute does every single thing that you can do by just opening it in JSON. However, I do understand that some folks may not be able to like bring down code and use the code, or for whatever reasons, you may want to maybe write your own version of this, right? So you kind of want to know, well, how the heck does this all work at the baseline, which is good to know anyway, right? You want to know kind of like, well, what the heck is Mark's code doing? And so I'll show you that. The nice thing is, at the end of the day, it's JSON, right? It's just JSON with an absolutely huge amount of nodes, unfortunately, but it is still just JSON. So you can go ahead and you can pull it into your own application and have it do things like that. You could maybe write an amazing AI that does some sort of styling. If you could do that, tell me how you did it, because I tried and failed spectacularly doing it that way. But hey, who knows? Maybe you could do it. And basically what you'll do is you'll build this JSON, you'll specify a name for it, and then you'll go ahead and name it and save it somewhere where it is available to your application. Okay, so this is kind of important. I'll show you a little bit of this. You will not want to save it to where the built-in stuff is, right? That's critical. It's really, really important. You're going to want to have another area for reasons, quotes. But so basically, when you specify a theme, and I'll kind of show you that, you can either specify the name with no extension, and CF knows at that point, oh, that's one of the built-in themes. It goes and looks for that. If it's not correct, then it breaks, right? But if you specify an actual location on the server, then it goes there and loads it, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, semi-automated. So this is the app that I wrote. Me and my good friend AI wrote. And to use it, you'll have to download it and run it. It is a ColdFusion app, of course, obviously, or I'd be fired out of a cannon into the sun. So it's fairly easy to utilize and use and all that. However, you do need to alter administrator settings, and I'll actually show you which ones of those you have to edit. And this just goes back to the entire, hey, there's a lot of nodes here. Well, turns out if you try and throw 400 something form fields into CF, it doesn't like that. So you do have to up the request size limits. I just go all in and go 500. By the way, don't run this on production, please. Like this, it's not a production app. This is not an app that should be exposed out there. This is local stuff that you're developing, and then you're just going to take that JSON and throw it somewhere else. So what does the app actually do when you actually get it all running? Well, it goes through and it lists out all of the available nodes currently that are in the JSON right now, right? So I taught it how to go look and find all those. I had it build it out for me, and then I took that result and I dropped it into this page. So it's not actually going out and looking anywhere for this information right now. If the JSON changes in the future, potentially we may have to update it. So keep that in mind. For now, I think we're pretty much steady state for the stuff that is editable in the themes, but who knows? And it's still a lot of themes. Just full disclosure, right? You're going to look at this thing and go, oh my goodness, this is a lot of work. And it is, right? Like, if you think about it, though, if you're trying to really, really like get down to the nitty gritty and customize stuff, it's going to take you a while, right? Because again, there's a lot of different things that are customizable. That's both a strength and a weakness in this case. And there should also be a better way to do this, or at least get part of the way there automatically. And there is, and I wrote it. So there's another page that I'm also going to show you at the very end that this was actually a really great project that I used one of the newer frontier models to help me with, that it's not using AI to generate the actual colors. It's not. But what I did do was I used AI to look at the way that charting is actually built. So this uses Zing Charts, right, behind the scenes. So I asked it to go and look at the way that Zing Charts does all this and find me an intelligent way with a minimum amount of effort to create something that is pretty, right? That looks good, that works well, and that gets you running and gets the data visualization going, right? And you know what? It did it. It kind of blew my mind. I think I might have posted a little thing about it on LinkedIn when I was using anti-gravity. So this is IDE from Google that my friend Aaron Rouse had actually mentioned to me, and I didn't really believe him when he said it was as good as some of the other things out there, and I ate crow because he was right. It was really good. So anyway, it's something to check out if you haven't looked at. So what does this thing do? Well, this lets you put in 3 colors. It actually auto-generates off the bat a random first color, that color's complement, and then gives you a desatched dark third color, because that was just what worked really well, generally speaking. You can then change those. There's a color picker from there that you can go ahead and change those colors to be, whatever the heck you want. What it does then is it takes those colors and it generates a bunch more to fill the palette using halftones, quarter tones, things like that, so that if you have a bunch of different settings, it'll fill those out. You won't have like, oh, these 2 things are 2 different things, but the colors are the same, right? Now, really quick, very important, for accessibility, this is not doing any kind of contrast or any other types of checking. This is very critical if you want to be accessible and make sure that people who are colorblind or have other visual impairments that could potentially limit their ability to see contrast across different colors and hues and tonal values. I would recommend that you are careful about doing that. You can also select the basic fonts. Now, why would you want to do this when it's not necessarily perfect? Well, because it does a pretty good job of generating a whole lot of what needs to go in. And honestly, unless your charts are insane, you're not using 400 nodes. You're probably using 30 or 40, right? So what this allows you to do is build out something that looks really good right out of the box. And I'll show you that in a little bit. And then go in and do your tweaks, your tunes, your little, turn the knobs, turn the dials so that you can actually get things that are accessible, that match perfectly with, the stuff that you need and only affect the nodes that you're using. Okay, so kind of worked out a workflow here for people to use. You'll have to let me know what you think. I actually have mostly just self-tested this smart automated one, and it works for me. But you'll have to let me know if it works for you. But okay, enough of that. Enough of me blathering on about random stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into the code. So the first thing that I wanted to actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and show you. So this gorgeous beauty here is one of the JSONs that is, this actually comes with the, this is one of the ones that comes as a default theme. Can everybody read, is the text big enough there on the right? Well, on the left too, but is it okay? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So as you can see, generally speaking, we start with a base node of graph, and then if you've ever been inside of the charting stuff, you'll recognize some of these things like the plot, hover markers, hover states, side factors, right? Size factors. These are all of the things that are exposed as customizable for a theme. Plot area margins, right? And as you can see, I'm scrolling this, and this little sucker over here ain't like traveling very far, right? Because this is really, 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 really big. But here is one way that you can go ahead and edit these and go in there and actually like make these. So let me 1 second. I should have had this set up ahead of time, but let me go ahead and find where these are. Sorry, my machine's a little bit. I have a brand new machine actually sitting in a box next to my desk that I just haven't been able to pull start and get running. So unfortunately, I'm using my 5-year-old machine, which is not the fastest. What I'm going to do here is let me find CFusion. Here we go. Okay. So this is my directory that I have ColdFusion installed in. Notice it's CF25, CFusion charting themes. And here are all of the themes that are included inside of CF. Now you're going to notice a few things. One, there's light and dark versions of everything, and I'll show you that visually in a little bit when we preview some of these. But also file type. Yeah, there's no file type, right? You're like, well, how the heck do I open this? Well, it's JSON. It's literally JSON, right? So you can just go ahead and take this and drop it into like your notepad or whatever, and it'll open just fine, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You may need to one thing I did at one point was I copied it out to my normal directory, changed the file type, and then opened it that way, for funsies. But anyway, this is a place that if you want to, if you just have endless time and want carpal tunnel, I guess you can go ahead and use these as your baseline for doing manual editing. And that is what it's going to look like. So, you could go through here, edit them, and then save it someplace with an extension of JSON. Now, one thing I did find that was interesting is ZingCharts does not like line returns. So you definitely want to make sure that when you save it, that it's prettified, or sorry, that it's not prettified, that it's collapsed, that it's, it's made to be one line, essentially. Minified. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And you can kind of see, like, so here is a theme that I made for CF Summit, and it's just one very, 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 very long line, right? So yeah, that's and you'll notice, like, for whatever, ColdFusion freaks out sometimes when you open these things. But anyway, so there you go. And editing it is super, super easy, right? Like, it is literally there's really nothing in here that requires any sort of like specialized knowledge. Like, most of this is CSS, right? You've got hex, line styles, right? All of these things are things that you are likely familiar with. Few things interesting, like adjust layout, things like that are, a little bit different. But, and it does use, like, so here, the text, that's a variable that's set somewhere else, right? So you can set the text to be a certain thing, and it'll just set that. This one is pretty interesting. So when you specify these, you actually specify them as the name of the file, not the theme name, which is different than what you do when you do it the other way, right? However, it is important to make sure that the theme name is unique. So you don't want to name this the same theme name as a different theme. And I'm not sure exactly what the interaction mechanic is there, like where it holds this stuff, but bad things can happen. So I always make sure that things are unique, even though you're not actually specifying things by the theme name. All right, so that was fun. Let me drop in real quick. Okay, how is themes different than using JSON files from older version? Mark, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. Can you explain it a little bit? I see what you're saying. Yeah, so the difference is that here, and I'll show you this in a little bit. The difference is that when you use the JSON files in the previous versions, you'd have to like drop them in or include them or whatever. Here, these are saved in a location. That location can be shared across teams. It can be, like backed up or whatever. And like, one update will affect everyone else's things, right? And then when you specify the theme, you're not actually having to drop all the stuff in. You're actually like calling out to a particular theme, if that makes sense. Did that answer your question, Mark? And I'll show you a little bit more like detail. We're actually going to drop it in code. Okay, awesome. CTS, any CF jobs? Yeah, there's lots of jobs out there. You just have to search for them, but that's not what this talk is about, my friend. If you're on the Slack, there's jobs there, but yeah, look around. There's definitely, in the last couple of months, I have definitely found quite a number of CF jobs for folks. So yeah. So yes, the answer is yes, there's definitely jobs. Okay. Real quick, before I drop into the code, and I apologize for that, I did want to show you where in ColdFusion Administrator you need to go to make sure that my code that you're going to download at some point in the future from GitHub actually works. Okay, so you're going to go into your CF Administrator. And this is another reason, by the way, that you shouldn't install this thing on production, because you're changing performance, like potentially like performance things. There's a reason, by the way, that this is limited the way that it is. It prevents like DDoS attacks against your server, things like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your administrator, and you're going to go to settings. You're going to go to server settings, and you're going to scroll the way down, way down into the depths, all the way down to request size limits, maximum number of post request parameters. This starts off at like 50, I believe. I could be wrong. This is the maximum number of params in a post request that the server will accept, right? So if you have it at a super high thing, potentially someone could throw a bunch of params at you if there's some way to, like, you know, spawn form fields. If you've got some sort of, you know, some mistake that you've made in the way that you built stuff up, and someone could potentially like try to take down your server by just constantly throwing hundreds or thousands or however many post requests at your thing. This is local, so I set it to 500. Honestly, I think most servers could take 500 without breaking a sweat, depending on the size of each thing. But then also you can set a post size, and I left that at the low end at the 50 megs, which actually, again, that's 50 megs is a huge amount of post data. But, you know, and we're not sending much, right? We're sending a little bit of text because that's all that we're editing. So anyway, there you go. So that is that. Let me show you what this looks like. Okay, so this is it. This is life. This is the main app, and I know it's really beautiful. Try not to cry. And what can you do here? You can create a new theme. This AI theme generator is poorly named. It's not using AI. It's AI generated. I'm trying to give credit where credit's due. It did a great job. You can view saved themes, and you can edit existing themes. The other thing that you can do just for fun is you can actually view one of the built-in themes, and it will show you what it looks like in a struct, basically. Now, believe it or not, this was incredibly useful for me when doing work on this. It also kind of helps you if you're a programmer, right? Like for me, this structure makes more sense than JSON. Like visually, it just helps me really understand what this is doing behind the scenes. Is it that useful for stuff? I don't know. Maybe, right? Let's take a quick look. How am I on time? Okay, I'm doing pretty good. Let's take a look and do a theme preview. Okay. App could use a theme. Thanks, Dana. Are you volunteering? You can send a pull request against this in GitHub. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. All right, so let's take a look. By the way, this theme preview thing that I'm showing here, the nice thing about the way that this works is it actually goes out and it grabs any of the themes that I have built already. So all of these are custom themes that I've made, and we'll be making one in a little bit. And then here are all of the built-in ones. So let's take a quick look at Blue Dark. So we're just going to take a look at out of the box. So this is one of the themes that comes with CF25. And, you know, it's pretty. Honestly, I think that the company that we hired to do this work, we did not do this internally. We brought someone in. They did a great job. And they even like they had names for everything. I mean, they were like really into it. But you know, this could work for a lot of applications, right? Like if I sent this to my boss, I don't think he'd blink an eye that it wasn't Adobe Red or whatever. And you know, generally speaking, when you look through a lot of these, like they've got some good differential. This one has a little bit of red, right? Like, so you can go through here and you could probably find one that does a pretty good job of finding what you need, right? And there's a bunch of them. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to be asked to do a particular thing, right? So let's go ahead and hold on. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. We'll do that in a second. Let's create a new theme. And the way that I did this was that I just assumed that no one in their right mind would actually want to just fill in every single node of a 300 or 400 node JSON. So I allow you to use one of the base themes that comes with ColdFusion as the base for your new theme. Now, this might be a reason that you don't want to use my app. Like you may want to, who knows, maybe you're that person. Maybe you're that person who loves to type stuff in manually. I don't know. I'm not judging here, right? But for this, we're going to go ahead and use Industrial Light. And here we go. So we've got hover markers, hover states, few boxes, quite a bit of stuff. And you can kind of start to see where this is going. And by the way, just for chuckles, let's take a look and see what that theme actually looks like. So that was Industrial Light. So there you go. So this is what that theme will end up looking like. And this is all of the stuff that you want to actually like go through and edit. And yeah, it's a balance, right? It's a balance between having really, really high amounts of control over what you're doing and having an understanding of what's going on, and actually wanting to go home at night and have dinner on time. Yeah, it's a lot. It does keep going. So basically what you would do, by the way, is you'd go all the way through here and you'd get to the bottom, right? Because the expectation is that you want to do whatever, and then you would enter your theme name. In this case, let's do CF Online. What was it? Industrial Light 1. And then you can save it. But just for funsies, let's go ahead and change out one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do that. Okay, so that should definitely make it a little bit different than before. I'm going to go ahead and save the theme, and there you go. And now we are there, and I'm going to go back to the theme viewer. I'm going to view the saved theme. I'm going to go ahead and grab the one that I just created, the CF Online Industrial Light 1.json. We're going to go ahead and preview that. And you can kind of see, right? So that's the original, and that's the one that I changed. And you can see the colors have changed to that like magenta, purple type of stuff. So that's just an example of kind of what you can do with that particular thing. Let's see. Sean says, I take the defaults and tell ChatGPT to give me alternative themes to popular color palettes that aren't being used in the defaults. Yeah. Yeah, that works. That works. And I could see an enhancement to your app to adjust all colors by brightness, contrast too. Yeah, for sure, Mark. And I would love to see like someone to kind of go in and the thing I'm going to show you in a bit would be a really great place to actually do that, Mark. Like like the thing I'm going to show you that is the AI design sort of auto magical, whatever thing. You could absolutely do a lot of tweaking and do all that. But again, this is one of those things where I'm not sure if you're all familiar with conservation of complexity. Really fun. This is actually a talk I'm going to be doing in a bit for one of the local meetups. But the theory of conservation of complexity, I have time for this. Okay, the theory of conservation of complexity is that any application has an inherent amount of complexity to it that cannot be destroyed. Right? You can only shift it. Yes, Tesla. Thank you. You can only shift it between the user and the developer, right? And that's essentially what we're dealing with here is this, this ability to customize this requires a fairly high level of complexity. Now, I've taken a lot of that and pushed it to the developer by creating this big old long form field thing, all right, and having color pickers and things like that to try and like reduce the cognitive load and difficulty on the user. But at the end of the day, unless I just pull a lot of your control out, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So there is that. I have played with the idea of using an AI that's able to like look at and deal with and play with browser stuff. Anti-Gravity does that, and it's really good. And have it be able to do some customization, like it's essentially ask it, like Mark said, like could you potentially increase brightness by everything by 30%, or increase contrast between things by X%. And having the ability to see a browser would also allow it to do things like preview what you're seeing here, right? So yeah, it would be a really, really nice enhancement. And again, this is a living thing. Like we would love to see what people come up with. We also want to add some of this stuff into ColdFusion baseline too. Like it would be really, really neat to be able to go into the administrator and build out a custom theme, right? And do it really easily, and maybe have AI have a hand in it too, right? I think that would be really cool. I'd love to hear folks talk about that. I'd love to see maybe someone come up with that in our upcoming hackathon that we have in a few months. Pretty please. That would be amazing, so that it's not always me doing all the stuff on the customization. But anyway, okay, all that being said, let me go back and let's go ahead and look at the last piece here, the AI-based theme generator. So obviously out of the box, way simpler, right? Way simpler, like almost too simple. You have a name, you've got your primary, secondary, and your text dark, and you have a font family. That's it. And then you just, that's it, right? And you can randomize colors. It also will randomize these colors if you just keep doing that, right? Although it seems to love those two. There we go. So that's a little ugly, and I think I'm going to generate something on that because ugly charts need love too. So I'm going to go ahead and use, I don't know, Times New Roman doesn't get enough love these days. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this CF Online Custom AI one. Sure, why not? Why not? Okay, and then that's it. That's it. Done. We go to Preview Themes, and we go to CF Online Custom AI 1, and we preview it. There you go. And so what it did was it took the colors that I specified, and it went ahead and it automatically used a bunch of, yeah, actually it doesn't look bad, right? It's not bad. It does a really good job. And the reason why it looks good is because I actually have it mathematically generating the complement to the other color, and then using things like halftones, quarter tones, things like that, so that mathematically everything like works, because color is math, right? Sound is math. Everything is math. And so this is pretty nice. There's no AI happening behind the scenes, by the way, in any of it. This is literally just math. It's just doing some calculations behind the scenes and doing it. What this does, though, is it gives you a heck of a solid start for a customized theme for your business, or your department, or whatever the heck it is, and that you can then go in and you can kind of see, like, the size of this is a little bit big for my screen, right? Like I could probably lower the size of that, right? You could go in. And so what you can then do is, oopsie, if you go to home, if you go to edit existing theme, you can go ahead and edit this one and go through and change all that. You can change the size of fonts. You can change, maybe some of the font colors didn't come out to exactly what you wanted, right? So there you go. And you can see the palette here, right? And so these are the colors that it generated inside of the palette, knowing that only these first ones were really the main ones. Now, is this doing every possible combination? No, it's not, right? This is definitely a work in progress, and there's a lot that you can add to it and add and make better. But like was said, it doesn't look bad. It does a great job for this particular thing. Now, real quick before, okay, I've got like a few minutes. Hold on. Let me just jump in and just show you a little bit of what it looks like to actually like preview the theme and do all that. So here at the top of this code, by the way, you'll be able to download all this code and use it. It's all great. I'm actually doing a lot of like magical stuff. You will have to change this for your built-in theme directory. Just make it, fit whatever your local thing is. I have it in a themes folder, and I have it actually generate a themes folder if it doesn't have one when it writes stuff out. So it would be useful to have that unless you want to change it. And here we go. Okay. And then here is where I'm actually doing my charts, right? And again, this is something that if you use other charts and different charts, this is a place that you'd want to set that up, right? So the first thing that also I wanted to add real quick, because it was a nice addition in CF25, and it's something that I've been asking and praying for years, and we got it built in, is you might notice something about this that is a little bit interesting, and that is I am setting the chart set to 100% width and height. Okay, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave you considering that for a second. What the heck is a chart set? Well, that's a new addition in CF Charts that allows you to set up a grouping of different charts and reuse those, which is pretty darn cool. But more cool is the fact that this thing is using percentage-based sizing, right? Like you may have thought, oh, Mark is definitely like he figured out what screen this was going to go on and made them the right width. Nope, I did not do that. I love you, but I don't love you that much, guys. This is just making the sizing fit the screen, right? So you just saw it resize and resize. That has been a thing that I have wanted in CF Charts to work properly and all that for a really long time, and we have it now, which is really, really awesome. But anyway, that's not what I was going to tell you about. So the thing you'll notice here is this guy, theme. And for me here, I'm setting the theme as the theme path. Technically, it's not a path always. Sometimes it's a path, but sometimes it's the name of the theme itself. So if you want to use just a regular theme, you're going to go ahead and just use the name. It passes in the name. You get the built-in theme out of the ones that come with it. If you want to use one of your custom themes, you're going to set the name inside of the themes and then pass the JSON in there. All right. Sean says, it would also be useful, a pre-interpreter that minifies the theme JSONs as they're loaded would be great if the overhead would be mitigated. That would be cool, actually. Only thing is, I think we'd have to consider. I mean, that would be really nice too. Yeah, if we had an editor it would also be nice to just have like a text editor that just pulls the JSON, like prettifies it, lets you customize it, and then minifies it back, like without having, if you don't want to use a form field thing and don't want to change your stuff, that would be cool too. Yeah, there's a lot we could do. I think honestly, it would be really awesome. This is something that I would love to see, but I don't know if it's possible, to have something look at your charts, figure out which of the things in the theme are applicable to those charts, and only list those as customized. Kid can dream. Unfortunately, that's not what's there now. I'm sorry. But, hey, again, AI, magic, hackathon, make me proud. But anyway, there you go. So that's custom theme charting in a nutshell. And I do have, before we take questions, because I know there's probably going to be some more questions, we are going to, oh wait, I'm sorry, there is a question. So let me just answer that. CF charts did not respect time series data in the past. Has there been improvement to that? Jason, what do you, when you say it did not respect time series data, are you saying that the way that it displayed it was not being interpreted correctly? Is that correct, or is what were you? Because it may just be a matter of formatting. The data will not display correctly if time is on the x-axis. Oh, interesting. That's a really good question. Could be a bug. Do you know if that's if is that just a Zing charts thing or epoch data and otherwise? I would okay, Jason, if you could you please email me? Let me give you my email. Actually, my email will be up here. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do that. If you could email me at my email there, takata@adobe.com. I would love to bounce that off of our team and just make sure that that's not a bug that continues to be in there, because obviously that's important, right? Yeah, we want to definitely fix that. Also, for everyone, before I give away the $50 cash money, y'all, before I do that, if you have ideas or bugs or concepts, I mean, we've shared a lot of them. Here, oh, Mark says this was an issue with CF sending the data to Zing charts. Yes, please. If there's an incident ID, if there's a tracker ID too that exists, please let me know, because that probably is old, and I want the team to make sure that it's either fixed or that we fix it. Dollar saw exactly, Phil. So if you have ideas like this, if you have concepts, if your team wants to do something with Zing charts but currently can't in 25, obviously, if you're like in CF16 2016, like, yeah, we know. But if the current engine doesn't do what you want it to do, if there's types of graphs that like Zing charts has in its base that aren't in here, because there's like hundreds of different ones, let us know, because this is the reason, one of the reasons that we went to a subscription model was to allow things like, like out of band updates, right? In fact, when CF26 drops, I'm not sure if this has been actually announced anywhere, but it's not actually going to be CF26 officially. It's actually CF 2025.1. It's actually an update to CF25 that brings you all of the amazing new AI stuff that's coming, right? So get ready for that. So in that style, in that vein, like we can do updates mid-year, like, and we'd love to make this work even better for all of you. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Mark. I'm going to go ahead and send that to the team and have them test it. And actually, if anybody happens to have any, yeah. Oh, you know what? If Jason, could you send me like a snippet that shows the failure real quick? I just want to make sure I can send these guys a repro, because they love to repro stuff. Like in that email, just just a little tiny snippet of code that says like, hey, this is supposed to work and it doesn't because of this. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for that. All right. So, my friends, it is time to give away the big money for all of you to buy swag with ColdFusion stuff on it, which I wish existed. But anyway, you can buy other stuff. So I am going to ask a question. The first person to put the correct answer into text wins 50 American dollars. And the question is, can someone hum the Jeopardy theme for me? The question is, how many total default themes does ColdFusion 2025 come with? All right. So I saw the correct answer, and Sean Rutledge is correct. It is 16. It is 16. So Sean, you win the money. I think Philip wanted to type 16, but he missed the one. Sorry, buddy. You gotta get the right one. Mark was a little overexcited and thought we had 18. I wish we did, but we have 16. Awesome. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you, Sean. I see your email there. 6-7. Alistair, you're off the chain, buddy. That's it. Get out. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and spending this this lunch hour with me. If you're on the West Coast, anyway, it's lunch hour. If otherwise, it's that time of the day when you need another coffee. If you're on the East Coast, and make sure that you stick around. We have got, not today, but I should say, make sure you come back tomorrow morning, because we're going to have more talks tomorrow and the day after and the day after, Monday through Thursday this week. We are having tons of talks by a lot of amazing people about lots of fun stuff. Don't miss it. They will be recorded, but it's way more fun to hang out with us in person. So thank you again, and have an amazing rest of your day. And thank you for all your help, Apurva. By the way, I want to highlight that Apurva is running all of this stuff this week, and she's doing an amazing job. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for the.
By the way, yes, this is a of course. By the way, this is a corgi mug, in case anybody was wondering what I was drinking out of. The downloads for this will end up being inside of the Adobe ColdFusion webinars. There will be a CF Summit Online 2025 folder put there in a day or two. I just want to double check and make sure that everything is cleaned up inside of my code, and I'll push it up there, and you'll be able to use it. Delaware County level 3 snow emergency. My goodness, Jim, are you in Delaware County? Oh, well. I hope you got a sweater. Oh my goodness. Whew. Is it the higher number that's better or worse, Jim? Like is a 1 good or is a 1 really bad? Higher is worse. Okay, so they got better. That's good. Yeah, it's missing, like, somehow. I mean, California got pretty hit like a few weeks back or a month back or whatever. Time is an illusion, but yeah, it's all missing. Like, it's going completely around California and hitting everybody else now. So yeah, you guys can have it. Ohio is just unfortunate. I mean, Ohio is just unfortunate. Oh, you mean the snow? Yes, that too. What is my IGN in Apex? You wrote words. I don't know. I don't play Apex. I play Winterboro. I'm a cozy gamer. All right, fine. I play Diablo 4, but that's also kind of a cozy game. Thank you, Apurva. Yes. For everyone that wants to have an amazing time with all of your ColdFusion friends, coming up in June, ColdFusion Summit is moving to an earlier date this year. Yes, it is going to be in the beautiful Las Vegas summer sun. So we'll all be staying inside, clearly. But yes, please come join us. This year is going to be amazing. We are going to have, once again, some of the best ColdFusion talks in the world. It's going to be fun. Lots of AI stuff, lots and lots of AI stuff. It's going to be fun. Yeah, as Apurva said, we've got a workshop on AI training that our engineers are running for the first time, I think, in, oh my gosh, Apurva, do you remember? I think the last time we had something like that was 2016. Like, it has been a long time since we've actually had that. So yeah, come join us. It's going to be fun. Yeah, nothing like 120. Well, that'll help you defrost, Jim. That'd be great. You get those icicles off your ears. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. It's at the Bellagio Hotel, which is a personal favorite of mine. I do love the Bellagio. It's an older hotel, but still one of the best. You can relive your Ocean's 11 fantasies. I mean, don't actually do anything like they did in that movie, but just, look around. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone. I'm going to pop off of here and grab a bite, grab a nosh, and we will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. All right. Have your coffee ready and your minds open for learning. Thanks again.